Hello everyone, this is part number 18. In this episode we're gonna go for a reputation grind. I'm gonna show you different reputation grind routes, which is basically most effective for me, but I think they are pretty effective for everyone that's new to the game. So first I want to hit revert with a Malmut. I'm pretty close. This is very important faction. They sell experience potions. I need quite few, so I speed up my leveling process. So my reputation farming route, it's like this. I hit first the boss at the crown hill. If there is a totem, I hit the totem as well, but only if he's spawning points here. I'm not gonna go deep into the buildings for the next spawning point. Of course I'm gonna kill every single hero, that's a lot of reputation. If they stop, heal each other. Another retaliation punch, I believe. It's worth keeping, because this is a high level base and it's best in slot for certain builds, mostly lightning retaliation. Another cluster. I'm gonna approach the boss. That's bad. We are stunned. She's level 96. And I put myself in a danger. I have to check my stun resistance. I think they are pretty bad. I was stun locked for like 4 seconds. If you fight her next to the door, meteor's gonna shatter on the doorway, not on top of your head. Another item that's good to be saved. This is probably best in slot armor slot for dual wield gunners. We're gonna hit the totem. Problem with this build is not the best bosser in terms of grinding. Another 2 items. The Fate Weaver rope, mantle, sorry, it's another solid item. After that I'm go for the city council, because they're exactly here next to the crown hill. You can kill these guys, you can go for the objective. I like to kill the sentinels, as I said. Have to be careful, these guys put similar aura to the Chthonics one. Catonic Oppression. Just their aura is weaker. It's around 10%, not 20. But still, my max life dropped to 1600. This is a pretty good spawn. We have tons of champions here on top. I think I'm gonna hit revert very quick. My run involves 5 bosses in total and a potential totem. All of them gives max reputation. These pool stacks don't overstay their welcome, so it's good to reposition. It's very good to keep them in the same life range, because at the end it's gonna be very hard to dispatch them when they start to heal each other. That's why I change the target often. High DPS builds destroys them, but mine is not one of these builds, so I have to play smart. When there is a shield on him, he takes less damage. Especially for a slow boss like him. My build struggle. Another good blueprint. This is a alchemist belt. I'm gonna check the treasure room quickly. Another extremely good blueprint. This is quick draw gloves. Another gunner. Probably best in slot for most of the gunners, especially if you play piercing gunner. This gonna increase your DPS to the top. And my final spot for this farming route is go across. On top of that, that's gonna net me between 15 and 20 crystals if I am lucky with the spawns. Also, sewers is full of low life champions. They give more reputation than the normal mobs. The reputation farming crowd and the infamy farming crowd is the same. So if you want to hunt basically the Nemesis, which is Archmage Alexander for this faction, you can do this until you get Nemesis with the Maumut, with the Ethereal Vanguard, sorry. In my case, I am not interested in kill Alexander. His pants are not for my build. For my build I need a specific legendary pants that I hope they're gonna drop soon. At this point I'm close to endgame, so my damage falls off. My gear is not very optimal. Serves me well to this point, but after level 19 it's gonna be a little bit rough. Okay, let's see quick recap. So we start around 2300s and now we are close to 25, which is basically this run nets between 1000 and 1200, depends on the spawns. Usually when I do this is in between these numbers. So probably in the next run I just have to kill the Crown Hill boss and maybe clear a little bit, and I'm gonna be revert. So I can have access to my augments and the most important thing, my experience potions. That's gonna speed up my leveling to 100. So I'm gonna restart. Why I start to grind reputation? Because augments allows me to switch off my gear, because at the moment my resistance cap, my armor is in a pretty good shape, stable 3000 I can say, without the procs. That means I'm technically immortal at the campaign. I have to stop and doing nothing basically to rip my character, but I want more damage, so at some point I have to swap my gear, and this augment's gonna help me min-max my resistances. That's why level 80, I can say level 85, after you unlock all the factions, is good to start getting your reputation. I got lucky again. Totem is here. That's gonna speed up the process for me. Seal of the Void. Another endgame component. I have to be sure I click on everything. Also, Valexteria, she drops part of the Creek set, which is a very good set if you level Death Knight. I try to avoid the thunder mechanic. Somehow she dishes tons of damage in these runs. Especially if she lands the meteor and after that his shotgun mechanic. This is extremely good armor. I got, I believe, triple rare. This is Dominator of Readiness. Unfortunately they changed Dominator prefix. At the last patch it was physical resistance. Now it's percent life if I'm not mistaken, and some defensive ability. No, it's just life, I think. But this is a pretty good find. That's that gonna carry you through the whole game. If you play some sort of fire build that involves one of the bottom skills. Let's see how. I think we are a few kills away. Actually, we got it. So I'm gonna buy some stuff. I'm gonna spend a little bit of my bits.
I'll give you a good price on what I've got left.
We got another Scepter of Malmut. Terrible rolls on the shields. That's okay. Don't watch me sell everything, I just play different type of challenge for myself. But all of these items that I sell, they are worth keeping.
Come see what's left of my wares.
So we got Juggernaut Relic.
Put it to good use.
This is the extremely good relic for leveling a soldier. On top of that, not only soldier, basically this is S tier leveling relic, I can say, because everything on this stats stacks. For example, offensive ability is a person base, so it's gonna stack with your character when you level up. On top of that, unstoppable proc is gonna stack as well, because it's person base, and 80 health regeneration per second actually is gonna ramp it up during your leveling process as well. But 6% health plus 600, it's a pretty good save on a 3 seconds cooldown. And at this point, I think it's worth try and replace my fervor.
If you find any blueprints, bring them back here.
It's a pretty expensive craft because of the Oleron's blood. I have to farm some bindings for this. Anyways, fervor is gonna serve me until I got the currency. It's not so important to be craft right now. The most important thing is to check the shields. This is a pretty good one. I don't like the prefix, but of thorns, it's a tons of physical retaliation on top of what I have. And the other ones is impossible of spines. This is not too bad, but honestly I prefer of thorns, so I can ramp my damage a little bit. And it's a high level base. It's quite expensive, but I'm gonna go for it.
Put it to good use.
I think it's time to change our gear here and there in terms of damage. I'm gonna change the the look of this shield. It looks disgusting. Maybe this one, this time, a little bit of change in the appearance. That's gonna refresh the vendor. So I'm gonna check if there is something useful.
Take a look, shall we?
See anything you like?
Crystal.
Put it to good use.
See anything you like?
So let's check the augments. So definitely need this one. This is pierce and ether resistance. Not bad at all. Vitality bleeding, it's not so useful. I'm gonna buy a few of them as well. And this is the most important thing. The experience potions. I'm gonna buy just 5 for now. This is 5 hours playtime. So I think it's gonna be enough.
Good use.
I'm not gonna spend all of my bits. Soon enough I have to make a crafting session. Let's go for the... It's time to hit the Devil's Crossing reputation route. So first I start from the first mine at the Arkovian food skills. I'm gonna kill Balthazar. There is a free dynamite as well, which I like. I'm not gonna bother with the beast this time. I'm just gonna kill what is on my way in hope of a free royal jelly. At this point, Balthazar can hit pretty hard. I am absolutely counter to him, but if you play some squishy build, keep in mind he is a beast. He can dish out serious physical damage in a short time stamp. Immediately I teleport to Old Arkovia. I'm gonna hit the next mine. Boss is at the entrance. This is a pretty lucky spawn. He is naturally swift, so that's gonna be a fast kill. Another very good set. It's slightly nerfed because the physical resistance changes, but this set provides tons of armor, physical resistance and different type of resistances. It's a pretty good endgame set. It's not high S tier, but still it's gonna work out for you if you play some sort of physical build. For example, Old Keeper based. The pit is quite tricky, and this is a very rippy one. This is Aldrich. Again, my build is a completely counter bladed plating. This is a very good retaliation component. We continue. Here at 4 Hills there is a potential of 3 hero spawns. And there is a 3 bosses at ultimate because I decide to make a deal with the Rainy. That's gonna net me 3 bosses at the Cronley's hideout. So here is the first hero spawn. Actually there is one extra. This is Dravku the Torch. This is basically a fire-based build. This mechanic is a... This is Blackwater Greenie. And usually here is 9 out of 10 cases is a Pharaoh, the wall. This time is Slavak the Breaker, but they are quite similar. Both of them are sword and board type of heroes, which is ideal for me. That means tons of retaliation in return. Devil's Crossing augments not that good, but honestly I have problems with the poison resistance, so I definitely need them. I'm gonna hit my potion. Usually it's good to be landed with some quests, but I'm gonna do several boss kills, so my experience gonna move in a reasonable level instead of few bits per kill. We kill Martin. There is the Rainy. That's why it's very important to make a deal with him at ultimate. This is an extra boss for your reputation grind. Also Devil's Crossing, they offer some upgrades in armor. That's a triple rare. Terrible combination of prefix and suffix, but still a triple rare is gonna sell well with the vendor. There is another guaranteed dynamite here. This totem's gonna give me a Dead's Video reputation. Sea of Shadows. We're gonna check for a hero spawn. There is none. Extra experience. Good thing about potions, they boost the whole experience from notes, quests, kills, everything. Usually if you do only the pit farms, it's gonna be maybe slightly faster, but I like to have a variety. It's too boring for me to hit the same place 100 times. And Grimdown use a specific RNG in terms of loot drop. In a longer session I'm not gonna take duplicates. So there is a high chance if I do longer session I'm gonna find what I need instead of hit the same place several times. That's why boss farming is not very efficient in Grim. There is a high chance you get dupes. So let's check the progress. I am far behind. Maybe 2 more runs. Hitting that experience potion wasn't a smart move because I lost it now. It's not persist when you restart the session. So probably it's not very smart to use it now when I grind. That's technically a waste. Balthazar opener is very strong. That's why I want to basically shorten the distance. I don't want to give him a opener chance because he's gonna blitz and after that immediately force wave. On a squishy build this is a lot of damage. Reputation grind is kinda fast, but unfortunately in far to get Nemesis with the factions is pretty slow. And I hope in the future they gonna change this, cause it's pretty tedious to make 20-30 runs just to get a chance for a Nemesis spawns. For me this warrants that Nemesis drop supposed to be dropped from the act bosses or specific bosses. So it's gonna speed up the process like at the league. At the community league they make this change. So for example Cronley drops the Cronley's gang warrant that boosts your infamy levels. Works like the mandates but on a opposite way. And you hit Nemesis in no time, not like now. After all the kills and quests and stuff. For example, I'm far behind for Arcovian. Ethereal Vanguard is basically I need another 10,000. Chthonics as well. Cronley Gang I'm terrible. I'm at the very beginning. I don't have even hated with them for the extra spawns. And Cronley Gang is a pretty limited in the vanilla game, so I have to farm this over and over again. So we have Boris this time, which is good thing. I'm gonna reposition. This is a very deadly Aldrich. He's ramping also. As you can see, I am stun locked. If it was a different build, I'm gonna be dead right now. Usually I advise you to avoid this version of Ascendant Aldrich. It's a pretty deadly, especially I believe my stun resistance pretty bad. Yeah, 31% is completely not enough to fight the pits. You want definitely to be capped. Usually at this point you can rift directly to the Crownless hideout, but I prefer the 2 hero kills. Also the dynamite, that's guaranteed. It's another minute or two on top of my farm, but for me totally worth it. We got again Dravko. Let's see what we got this time. This time is the wall, Pharaoh. He's much more tankier than the breaker, but still my build is absolutely counter to physical melee type of mobs, bosses and stuff. At the moment, top retaliation build is a Acid Sentinel. I think physical is a little bit far behind according to my testing for the new patch, because they changed how it works. Before, physical retaliation ignores enemy's armor, so they changed that, and it's... But they changed the physical resistance as well, so it's kinda slightly buffed in my opinion, but still can't compare to the others. This is Honor, another very good retaliation relic. It's an option for us because we have Old Keeper as a support with mastery, but I prefer either Citadel or something similar, which reminds me maybe it's time to craft my endgame relic. I'm gonna put 1 point here. Our stun resistance bad, so I'm gonna soft cap Scars of Battle. As I always repeat, leveling is nothing to do with that game. When you have certain gear, you can swap your skill points in favor of your build. But at the moment, some of my passives gonna provide me survivability that I don't have at the moment. So that's Martin kill. We going after Direni. Also good thing to have him. It's he's gonna drop a certain type of MIs. For example, these shoulders. And it's very hard to farm these items. There is no beside him and Rutnik. But Rutnik is a very rippy boss. I don't like to deal with him. take the dynamite. Another swift boss, this is pretty good. He's gonna melt him. Gonna kill Cronley again. Cunning. Our physique is quite a lot. I want to be around 1000, 1004. I think it's the most heavy item in the game. Or 1040. Something in this range. Thankfully, Cronley is a melee, so takes enormous amount of damage. Quick recap. One more run and we are ready. It's not gonna be even a full run. I believe I can go straight up to the Cronley's hideout just to save time. I need 500, which is 3 bosses plus few hero kills. It's very important to manage your cooldowns. That's why I immediately pop up Ascension. I don't want surprises. Martin can be very deadly if you are not be careful. Again, we go for the dynamite. Check for a hero spawn. There is one. The owner, the black eye. He's a shield and gun. Which makes him quite tanky. I'm gonna kite his force field. It's good to reposition. You don't want to stay on top so much seals. Seal of Annihilation. This is an extremely useful amulet component. This gonna stop monsters regeneration. The only downside, this proc only on a critical strike. Also lower your energy cost, gives you some spirit, which is always useful, especially when my build lacks some spirit. I definitely gonna craft this at some point. This is my only source of dealing with regenerator mobs, so we need quite few kills. I'm gonna check the pit. I hope it's not lighting Aldrich. I want to stay away from this guy. His shotgun and massive stun mechanics can put me into dust. So yeah, it's him again. I'm gonna kill just Boris. Actually, I don't want to risk it. This is a bad combination. Especially if they have the right weapons and stuff. I don't want to lose level 90 character just for one kill. So you can see how hard it is to deal with the regeneration mobs. That's where Seal of Annihilation comes in hand. Most of the endgame builds they use it. I can say maybe 90% of the builds. There is a very rare occasions that you put something different on your amulet. That's Markovian Bulwark. Another triple rare. That's money. This is money. Venom Blade Amulet. Okay, that kill nets me what I want. Time for some sales. This was a pretty good run. Comes with a lot of loot. This is another medal that you want to keep. Mark of the Forbidden. It's a best in slot for most acid retaliation builds out there.
Put it to good use.
So this is honor. This is a very good component for but it's more like if you are Oath Keeper main.
I'll give you a good price for what I've got left. Iron
One to Oath Keeper's not gonna give me much. I have like 6 kills in this tree.
Come see what's left of my wares.
Dawnbreaker Duty. This set is a very good if you play Lighting Retaliation Archon. Markovian set is a good sword and board set as well, based on Blitz and few other skills. This one is 2330 in resistance, this one is 2422, so we sell this one as the best one. Always check if you have duplicates and keep the better one. So not veteran, around
You were here.
Tinkering is
You were
my
here.
specialty.
What you see? It appears the crystal was not as stable as I.
this is a companion. That crystal is basically a cosmetic. It's not gonna do anything to you
See what's left of my wares.
or impact your gameplay. So augments kinda useless, but in my case I'm gonna need some poison resistance at some point when I start to. Also, this is better version of my belt, but I'm gonna craft something different at level 90. My plate mail is still better, but these armors, they are a kinda option. At the moment my resistance, stun resistance pretty bad, so I consider to change my shoulders. I'm gonna check real quick what I lose. Actually I lose a lot. That's not gonna be, for now I'm gonna keep it. My resistance is much more important. My main page. My secondary page is kinda okay, apart from the stun resistance. My freeze resist is in a good shape. I have or frost ointment if I need to fight a certain boss. Let's see what citadel needs to be crafted. Fortress. I think it's time to craft this, or at least try to craft it. Fortress gonna need fortitude, resilient plating, ballistic plating. It's kinda annoying because there is no quick buttons to craft. Basically, to click this and open the menu directly to the component. This is a good quality of life if Crate consider change this. So there is some basically quick buttons here at the, and open a different menus, so I can craft much faster instead of writing everything all the time. So fortress ready. Fortress ready. Lettery height. I hope for a good citadel bonus. Let's see. Actually, that's a pretty good bonus. It's a percent physique, cunning and spirit. This gonna saves me a lot of stat points that I can transfer to cunning for a more. I'm gonna keep fervor for certain fights. My DPS, it's not visible, but this comes with an aura. That's basically, I'm gonna return 10,000 physical damage. Problem with Citadel, comes with a lot of defensive ability, which I don't like. I like to keep mine close to 250, maybe 2500, sorry. So our next stop is a Caldera's quest, so I can check my rover's reputation, which at the moment is impossible, but at least I'm gonna rid of this quest. Citadel gives me tons of defensive bonuses. I hit 20,000 life. I pass the 3k armor threshold as well, which is a very good, especially in a leveling phase. And now I slowly gonna start upgrade my stuff. If I finish the McDrogan quests, that's gonna basically I'm gonna be close enough, but still rovers are far behind. I'm not gonna grind rovers in this episode cause it's gonna take ages and I hate to deal with undeads. Rovers is not very important for me either. This is a very bad spawn. A lot of frozen, corrupted bosses, heroes, I mean. At this point I did another mistake. I changed my shield, but didn't reattach my skill. So this is a huge mistake. Always check your devotions for mistakes like this. Also always check the mutators when you step in a dungeon or dangerous domain. So poisonous is okay. This one as well. And for me is a total damage modified and retaliation modified. This is a pretty good buff for me. I can tell this is a pretty good roll of mutators, nothing dangerous or nothing to worry about. I'm gonna stick to the objective, not gonna kill these guys. Physical retaliation kills undeads quite slowly. And basically my build don't need anything from this dungeon. Mostly you have to be constantly here if you play Nightblade in the most cases. Because there is a medal here and there is a set of legendary rings which Alchemos drops. This is one of the most annoying farms. If you play cold base Nightblade, you're gonna need these rings because their proc is a DR proc, damage reduction, which is essential for a Nightblade. Because usually Nightblade's build's kinda squishy. But still one of the most iconic classes in the game. Nightblade is a tons of fun, especially if you pilot this right. Another very good blueprint. This is best in slot ring if you play Cold Caster. This is Band of Eternal Hound. It's a absolutely must have for your blacksmith. The proc goes for a minus ether and cold resistance. It's a kinda okay for a ether builds as well, but mostly used for cold based casters. So that's a pretty good find. Another dangerous fight. Grand Priest Zarzulian can be pretty rippy. His damage ramping according to the pools that he spawns under your feet. Also that attack shotguns, as you can see, his damage ramping a lot. Never underestimate him. As you can see, I take tons of damage. If I am out of cooldowns, I can die very easily here. That's why on most builds I avoid this quest. If I am out of Ascension, I am in a very vulnerable. Somehow he dish out tons of damage. Another free key. We have a little bit of time. Let's check what we can farm. So we can hit. We're gonna do Creek Slap. This is the last, probably last faction for today. I'm gonna deal with Creek. This is a good time to farm some crystals as well for the upcoming crafting session. Let's kill our old friend Creek. Pretty good spawn. Another good spawn. Unfortunately, Creek Slap is quite annoying for farm, but all the champions there are low life champions, So most of the reputation for Dead's Vigil comes from here. And also you combine that with crystal farming, which is never a bad thing. You're gonna need tons of them for every single of your playthroughs, or even for that one. So terrible map roll. I have to go all through the whole place. No shortcut at all. As you can see, the place is pretty dense in terms of mobs. A lot of heroes as well, if you are lucky. This is a guaranteed spawn. This is one of the lore guys. Not very profitable, but still. Creek is a very squishy boss. As you can see, just 1.5 million compared to other bosses in the game. Of course, he is a two-phase battle, but still. Stone-faced of Thorns. Pretty decent roll. But I need the MI. Otherwise I'm gonna use it probably, because comes with physical retaliation and good armor stuff. Next stop's gonna be Fort Alcon Prison, dealing with Lucius. Not much options to farm Dead's Vigil reputation, unfortunately. You have to either kill Caimans, which is basically very far away from the rifts, and not good spawns as well. That's why I avoid farm Caimans in terms of Dead's Vigil reputation. Arkan Bartolom is a good source of reputation, but he is very far from the rift gate, and it's gonna take ages. He gives 200 plus reputation, but still I don't think it's a efficient way. Creek, Slap and Port Alcon Prison, it's a decent choice, cause both areas pretty close to the rift, especially Lucius. Also, the prison is a very good density of champions. On top of that, I need upgrade to my chest piece, I think. This is not bad. It's a 10% cunning, which is gonna be 100 plus, I think, at this point. Again, he's not very dangerous, just avoid that Trozan, this mechanic, and you're gonna be safe. If your heater resistance in a good shape. Of course, fighting him with bad heater resistance is gonna put you in a very bad spot. But if you follow the guide or my advices at all, you're gonna be okay. Next stop is gonna be the gates of Necropolis, the east part, that contains a lot of ethereals as well. Potential totem. And some crystals as well. It's good to be very well prepared before you start Forgotten Gods expansion. It's a pretty rippy one at Ultimate. So you don't want to go there, especially in a hardcore, completely naked. So level 90 is a very good spot. From now on we're gonna take just 1 point per level, which is kinda sad. But it's gonna be enough to min-max my leveling build before I jump to my endgame farming and stuff. So there is a totem. The problem is it's a Ethereal Vanguard one, so that's not gonna net me any reputation. I am already capped with Mammut resistance. That's very strange. It's supposed to be the... I got some reputation, but I'm pretty sure these mobs are Ethereal Vanguard ones, not the Ethereals, because there is a difference. Next point's gonna be Witchmire. I want to kill my friend Milton for a upgrade. My helm is a pretty old date. The stats pretty good, but the helm itself is a pretty low level base. Vigorous of attack. Actually, it's gonna work out. I like attack suffix. I'm gonna keep it. Basically, this is not my endgame helm. I need something better. Basically, I need Kalagadra's helm. But this is a very high-end game boss. I'm gonna use some substitute. I'm almost revert with that video, so maybe one run or more. Summon our guys. That video, I believe they have 18% poison resistance augment. This is something that I like to have. No, that's rovers. Rovers have this, but I'm pretty far behind. I don't think that video have something useful for me, apart from the fact there I can fight Kaiman's chosen nemesis instead of Zantarin. But still is a good to be, when I am that close, basically it's good to be revert with them for some adjustment here and there around the gear. At this point we pick up some damage thanks to the shield changing and the relic changing as well. When we grab our 94 version of the weapon, it's gonna be even better. Markovian plate mail. Basically this set is not a retaliation set, so it's not gonna be very useful for us, but definitely worth save this for a future builds. It's a very stable set, especially at this patch after the changes to the shield mechanic and shield block. Shield block is much more effective now. Warding of attack, I think this is a nice roll. This is another very good epic set, Myrmidon set. Yep, this is gonna fix my ether resistance, my problems with the offensive ability. Actually, this is a pretty good roll. Definitely better than Mystic. So another solid find. Not ideal, but I need specific legendary chest plate. It's a mythical armor of Azragor, which I hope is gonna drop soon, or at least the blueprint for it, so I can craft something with bonuses. Ideally we want the blueprint, but even the natural drop is gonna work out as well. Another gunslinger jacket. When I need this never drops, but now when I don't need it I have to. Again, our friend Lucius. I'm gonna avoid Trozons. It's good to reposition as well a little bit, you don't want to stay on top of the pools for too long. His damage depends on his arm as well. So this one is not so bad. And that's revert with the deaths video. I'm gonna jump to the homestead, check their vendor if there is something useful, but I believe there is none. Cayman's Chosen is much better in terms of augments.
See anything you like?
So cold damage, nothing special. Arcanist belt, it's good to have this. I don't need it because I'm not gonna spend my bits, but it's good when you reach certain points in the farming, reputation farming, to buy all the blueprints, because that's gonna help you for future playthroughs. So cold, vitality eater. Also jewelry augments terrible as well. So yeah, as I expect, nothing useful,
See you around.
but still it's good to hit revert with them. So this is the end of this episode. It was like a bonus episode, show you some reputation farming routes, and usually for maybe an hour and a few minutes I managed to get revert with most of the important factions. I am far behind with rovers. Basically I didn't start Forgotten Gods for the cults, but as you can see I have Homestead, which is very important. I have Orders, I have Black Legion, I have Mount Resistance, which is the most important one in terms of speed leveling, and I have Coven as well. Usually if you have this, you're gonna be pretty okay for most of the builds. So that's everything from this episode. Thank you everyone for watching. See you in the next time.